You are listening to Alchemizing Judgment, a guide back to love, written by Abigail Gazda, narrated by Abigail Gazda. Chapter 11, Distinguishing Dimensions. I'm going to carry over our conversation about frequency into a lesson about the different energetic dimensions we have access to. I have mentioned how frequency can go seen and unseen, but I want you to know that you have access to the various levels at all times if you are willing to train yourself to raise your vibration. The same way it is important to train to run a marathon, it is important to train your head and heart to make it to the finish line of transformation. Granted, growth will be a lifelong journey. That being said, the struggle most people suffer through on a daily basis can and will end if you are committed to existing at a high vibration. This gets really fun because even when challenging things happen to someone who is consistently vibing high, they are less impacted by adversity. If you are healthy, well, and empowered, judgment doesn't penetrate you the same way because you aren't absorbing everyone's shame, guilt, and negative energy. Other people's projections bounce right off when you are elevated and clear about yourself and your life. Transformation is not about consistent sunshine and rainbows. Life on earth will always present us with challenges, trials, and tribulations. Being transformed is about being able to transcend above adversity fast and frequently. That means you are living empowered upwards of 90% of the time. There is no doubt your humanness will swirl you into some low-vibe feelings and experiences. Being transformed means that you have the awareness and ability to transmute those energies back to love. Even the most challenging times are intentional and have purpose to help you hone your gifts and skills of alchemy. If you remember this, nothing can break you. Understanding the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions will certainly help you transcend your experiences in the third dimension with ease and grace. I want to be super clear that what I am teaching you is all about integration of this information. I do not teach this information so that you can peace out of this plane, move up to the mountains, go off-grid, start a commune, and never engage with civilization again. I am committed to sharing this information to empower you as the leader that you are in the collective of humanity. We need you. We need each other. It is not by avoiding and ignoring each other that we will heal. It is through our interdependence that we will thrive. There are 4 types of dependence to understand in this life. The first type of dependence is genuine reliance. For example, a newborn baby or an elderly person. This is the, if you don't feed and care for me, I will die kind of dependence. Then there is codependence, which we are aware of, but all too unfamiliar with. This kind of dependence can sound like, I lean on you, and if you leave, I will lose my balance until something or someone picks me up. This is the silent killer of humanity's true atonement and freedom. We are reliant on each other for things that we should be doing and handling ourselves. Codependency is disempowering to all of us, and without studying it more seriously, we will never fully understand all the ways we sabotage ourselves, our relationships, and our loved ones. The next is independence. I have a special place in my heart for independence because when I see someone committed to independence, I see their commitment to the greater good developing. Beware. We often choose this level of dependence out of spite, hurt, loneliness, resentment, fear, and more, but it is an initiation out of codependency and into interdependence. This stage is interesting because we are wrestling the most with standing on our own, as well as the fact that our insecurities, trauma, and trust issues are on display. This is the most important time to dive into the inner work of transformation. Doing so will help us level up to the next stage of dependence. The last type, interdependence, cannot occur out of order. None of them can. You must graduate from one to the other in the sequence that I introduced. I don't say must as if someone will force you to go through each one and give you a badge at each graduation. I am saying that life will take you through these stages naturally. Something that will happen is that as you practice independence, you will slip into codependent behaviors. As you practice interdependence, you will catch yourself protecting yourself with independent reflexes. This is okay and natural while you strengthen your skills along with your maturation and development. Interdependence is the concept that we are better together. This means that independent people actively choose to engage with other independent people and collaborate with a commitment to the highest good of all. If someone reaches interdependence as an adult at the time of being a dependent elder, they will still be interdependent because they will have wisdom to offer those who care for them. In the Western world, we have gotten away from respecting our elders. There are a variety of reasons for this, ranging from economical to spiritual. A large factor is attributed to the reality that large portions of previous generations did not work their way past codependence. They did not have the services available that we do, and mental health carried more of a stigma. It was not as common for people to get help, and those that did often took the route of religion or counseling, both of which treated the symptom more often than the cause in the earlier years of self-development. Along with the evolution of humanity, the mental and emotional health industry has evolved to support this shift. When a codependent elder shifts into a reliant state of being, this can be a very heavy experience for family, which can naturally lead to tensions and resentments. This is no one's fault per se, but it does require transcendence to gain clarity about the situation so that the people involved can feel empowered and at choice about the situation. In any case of an unhealthy dependency, it can be confusing for emotionally immature adults to collaborate when one or all are simply projecting on each other with little understanding of what is happening. Understanding this can also help us care for one another more effectively. Knowing this information will help us break generational patterns of passing down trauma. At lower frequencies, people compete to beat. They do unto others what has been done to them. Hurt people, and contribute to the cycle of hurt practically unconsciously. Dependent, codependent, and even independent people withhold abundance from each other as if there is a limit to it and begin to hoard. People who struggle with dependency and codependency are not present to their own capabilities and gifts that they have to offer. Therefore, they are incredibly reliant on others to care for and provide for them. They are takers, and this can tend to exhaust valuable resources of humankind. Not helping this population grow is detrimental to their connection to a higher power, which prevents them from fulfilling their purpose on the planet. This is why it is so important to become the leaders that we are, because empowering ourselves and each other empowers our evolution and begins to naturally dissolve our barriers to success. When people are simply left to operate at these low frequencies, they repel others from them. People who operate at these levels, especially in their adult years, are engulfed in judgment and stuck in this three-dimensional reality, as if this is all there is. It is toxic, disheartening, and demoralizing to exist in this frequency for years or decades. Individually, we act as if we can just leave these people behind, and in some sense, we must. Transformation must be an individual choice on each person's part. However, we must be prepared to guide these beautiful souls when they awaken to their true nature. It is so important to teach this information so that people can actually be at choice about which dimension they exist and have the freedom to choose their way out of misery if they wish. That being said, the way out of the lower order of dependence is to recognize the other dimensions, which I will explain in depth here in a minute. I first want to share that independence is much in the realm of the fourth dimension and interdependence is the fifth. As you can sense, the higher you climb, the freer you get to be. The higher you elevate, the more connected you are. The more connected you are, the more separation and judgment fall away, leaving true, authentic connection possible and available. When we create our world to have real connection, we have the potential to align more and more people who have strayed off track from the core of who they really are: love. That is why I need you here. We are better together. We came to this planet for this work. Our souls took a body to usher in an era of love and transcendence. In the example of Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden was a place of purity and abundance. There was no lack or need. Just bliss, coexistence, and love. It was our humanness and free will that caused our fall from grace, and it is our free will that will get us back to a more peaceful time for humanity. We must choose to be leaders of love. We must choose to step up as guides for each other, and interdependence will afford us the opportunity to collaborate on our arrival back to peace. A dear friend refers to our atonement, our arrival back to purity, as the garden state, in reference to the Garden of Eden, and I think it is a brilliant reference. To walk each other home to our innocence will require each and every one of us to accept our role and responsibility to be accountable to ourselves, our word, each other, and the collective. This will bring us peace. Judgment will keep us divided. Interdependence will unite us. So, as I share these dimensions, I want to explain why they are so important. As explained above, they are our access to love and innocence. They are our pathway to peace. This visible, material reality is not all there is, and trusting in the unseen will manifest things out of thin air to come straight to you. This is important for your leadership. This is vital to be your fullest self and live your fullest life. This is essential to our salvation. I would like to start explaining the dimensions by breaking them down in relation to this book. The third dimension is the pillar of integrity, the fourth dimension is alignment, and the fifth is faith. I say that the integrity pillar represents the third dimension because this dimension is about the tangible, physical realm here in the universe. It is measured by height, width, and depth. It is comprised of what we can see and perceive with our human senses, including what is on the ground and in the sky. It is what we can see, touch, hold, and feel, including this book, all the way up to the stars and the planets. This also relates to the cognitive concepts of human consciousness, such as math, science, history, and politics. Integrity is about being your word, and our word is of this realm. Words are something the human mind created to shape thought energy on this planet. We have shaped things into form with our language and our ability to articulate our thoughts, feelings, and intellect. Integrity is about having your life in working order, and that is primarily an effect of handling your business here in this life. Having an orderly room, car, paying bills on time, hitting deadlines, having a healthy body, and relationships are all actions and results of integrity. These actions keep us grounded here on Earth and make way for our connection to the fourth dimension. If we are out of integrity and have a disorderly life, we are distracted, distraught, and bogged down by this 3D material world and have very little wherewithal to believe in or access higher vibrations that will bring us the relief and joy we so desperately desire. Many confuse this physical realm for all that there is and feel gridlocked into this life. It is those that only believe in what they see that struggle with what they see. It is being able to transcend this physical reality that sets you free from feeling stuck in your circumstances. If you are reading this book, I assume that you already believe that there are more forces at play than just what you see here in this lifetime. Transcending the 3D to enter the 4D is basically understanding abstract concepts such as time, currency, rules, and creativity. I share that this dimension is reflective of the alignment pillar because your physical 3D reality is based on what you align yourself with in the 4D. To believe the idea that all you see is all there is limits what is possible for you. If you operate from this limited perspective, you have no facility with your abstract imagination to bring something new into your life. This can be challenging, disheartening, and demoralizing over time. The fourth dimension is where time bends, rules are relative, success is highly attainable, and abundance is so available. There are fewer boundaries and constructs in the 4D. Highly successful people in the 3D have access to the 4D, and as a result, they are able to produce much more desirable effects in significantly less time. This is because they are not gridlocked into the reality that others attempt to create for them. People who understand their own power understand that rules and laws of this world are made up. They understand that we humans design the concept of time to track and measure. They see and sense that currency, politics, and religion were mainly created to conform and institutionalize us. People who get this also get that they have a choice in the matter. Humans' societal norms, rules of engagement, and expectations of etiquette are all made up by someone's standard modes of operation. Someone established them and received sufficient agreement from others that what they declared was acceptable human behavior. From there, it was taught and handed down as truth and law. Without knowing any better, so many humans have simply accepted the way that they were raised and continued this cycle, and the societal norms have come along with it. Until now, that is. More than ever during this information age, we are empowered to communicate with others on an incomprehensible scale to expose injustice, institutionalization, and indoctrination. More people are awakening, learning, sharing, and teaching as to awaken more. This is why we need you. This is the era in which we are truly able and empowered to speak up and out about the fourth dimension, where seemingly concrete reality of the third dimension crumbles like a soft cookie on a warm day. This is the time of collective transformation. This is an era of restoration. It is our time to start returning back to love. We must all see, understand, and accept our roles as alchemists to make our return. People may come to envy someone tapped into the fourth and fifth dimensions because they operate much more fluidly. They march to the beat of their own drum and have learned how to win the game of life, and so they play it to their advantage. There are many people who think they want the image of abundance and success, and yet aren't willing to get uncomfortable enough to do the inner work necessary to reach that level of achievement. This can become frustrating and triggering for someone who insists this three-dimensional reality is the end-all be-all when they witness someone transcend their definition of truth and not play by their perceived rules. In terms of alchemizing judgment, it is essential to understand that the frustrations and opinions of those obeying the third dimension restrictions are that they have a deep desire to have the level of freedom they are witnessing and judging. It is about their own craving to do as they please versus conforming to what they were taught. I will likely not stop emphasizing that this is why your evolution is so important. You will break molds and pave paths that others do not yet have the tools to forge and navigate. Leaders must step up to make the way for those willing but confused, ready but unclear, and awakened but scared. It is our duty to shine light on the path until their light grows and shines brightly too. I explain this in the way that other body-positive leaders inspired me to accept my own body and nudity. Imagine what your authentic boldness will inspire others to think, believe, do, and create. Beginning to wrap up my explanation of the fourth dimension, I want to share that the fourth dimension is where creativity, inspiration, and imagination are granted access to enter the third dimension. It is through the cracks in the concrete that brilliance can seep into your physical space. We must be willing to bust up the barriers on our limiting beliefs and disempowering ways in order to receive those hits of intuition and infinite intelligence available to us from the 5D. This is why the fourth dimension is the dimension of alignment. It is our responsibility to align with the highest good to be a channel of love that can flow to and through us and enter this 3D field. This is where the magic begins. We are energetic beings having a human experience. I am going to jump ahead in my description of the fifth dimension to say that the spirit of who we are exists in the 5D. When the soul takes a body here, it cannot relate to the physical challenges we face in this concrete reality. Being on this planet can be a very dense experience without intentionally tapping into the higher frequency planes of existence. In the fifth dimension, there is no time and space. There is no form, boundary, standard, definition, or construct. There is nothingness. Everything comes from the same source of energy. This is the nucleus at the center of all that is. This nucleus is that core of love energy that I keep referencing. Some relate to it as God, or consciousness, or source energy. In any sense, when you go there energetically, your human identity dissolves. When you take yourself to that place, you blend with the nucleus energy of all that is. By way of being an energetic being having a human experience, you can choose to opt for the energetic experience. You would not recognize yourself again until you bring yourself back into this 3D reality. When you let your mind and spirit wander, they only take true shape again when you bring them back into your brain and body. This is important to understand because you are constantly connected to the fifth dimension, and this will begin to make more sense and have more value for you very soon. Because the soul is sourced in a boundless space, when it comes down to Earth to, let's say, play human, it doesn't understand the limitations we are faced with. You often feel like crap when your brain and heart are constantly pumping brilliant hits of inspiration that you don't feel competent enough to follow through with. You feel anxious and overwhelmed when you can see the vision your spirit is sending you, but you struggle with human fears and insecurities that stop you from taking inspired action to turn those thoughts into things. You overanalyze, rationalize, justify, calculate, and predict yourself right out of courage. As the naturally limited human you are, you resist all those hits with excuses about why you can't be, do, or have what your spirit is nudging you toward. We do this moment to moment. I can't do that, insert limiting belief. Who am I to? There's no way I could. I'm too tired. I'm not skilled enough. Nobody will let me. The reasoning goes on and on with endless justifications. You talk yourself right off the ledge of bravery and slowly tiptoe back to the safety of your comfort zone where your ego has a field day convincing you of the coward that you are. This is the most prime example of being out of alignment. It is like having your garden hose hooked up to the spigot of faith with a leak gushing out. You are receiving intense amount of guidance, direction, and urges from your soul, but you are letting them pour out onto the ground. This leaves you feeling as if you are a failure for letting your dreams spill out and evaporate. Before you spiral into hopelessness about all your dreams being dashed into oblivion, allow me to raise the vibe here. I want you to imagine a golden thread coming from this nucleus of all that is, where your beautiful soul is hanging out. There's this golden thread that pulls through the fourth dimension down into the third dimension, attached to this little embryo that is you. This little baby is growing into the human you will become. This golden thread comes right through the umbilical cord and it gives little baby you life. At our human birth, that umbilical cord is severed, and temporarily, so is our direct connection to infinite intelligence. At this point, we are disconnected from the source and raised by humans who are likely also disconnected from their source. This is where we are solidified in our 3D reality and the human modes of operation. This is when we are ingrained with the concepts of morality, ethics, and integrity per our guardian's definition. This lasts for as long as it takes for us to awaken. As described earlier, people's awakenings are often traumatic and result in that crumbling effect of their perceived reality. Even if one's awakening is traumatic and painful, it is a blessing. This is when you regain access to your golden thread. When your previous existence is shattered, you naturally begin a search for truth, meaning, and purpose. This is where transformation begins. This is where you begin to hear, see, and sense clear guidance from your soul that actually makes sense, and you are finally willing to follow it. When you finally accept the invitation to reconnect to that golden thread, you can start tapping into the stream of consciousness flowing through it, coming directly from your soul in the 5D. You can go back to the source. You can visit. You can intentionally channel the brilliance of the love energy. That's where you get your direct downloads for your next inspired actions. That's where everything starts. All of the amazing advances in humanity come from this place. Everything starts as a thought and becomes a thing, and thought comes from the nucleus source. Whatever higher power you use to reference, it doesn't matter, because there is no form or definition there. There are no words there. You simply come from it and return to it. It has the same golden thread attached and just shows up as an extension of this source energy. I like the idea that you will probably start seeing golden threads everywhere in your life now. I hope you use this visual to solidify your understanding of our true connection and to eliminate your illusion of separateness. I use this golden thread visual to connect with the person in front of me and the people, places, things, and experiences that I am calling into my life. When I feel called to something, I follow my golden thread back to the source and jiggle the one that I desire. I visualize taking a ride down the golden thread of someone or something else to energetically call them or it closer to myself in the third dimension. Please, friend, use this understanding for the highest good of all. Use this visualization to spread love, kindness, blessings, bliss, and joy. The work we are doing in the world is unleashing hearts, not restraining them. Speaking of unleashed hearts, I would like to take a moment to specifically talk about loved ones past. Our mortality is only in this third dimension. Our souls return to the source and our golden thread gets reeled back in until a soul decides to take human form again, which is thousands of times per second, in reference to the average birth rate. Souls are enthused to get down here and play human again. I want to provide this perspective to support your grieving process and provide an opportunity to gracefully alchemize the human fear and pain of death back into love. Us humans, when left behind when a loved one dies, are the ones who recall that human's life. Our brains remember them as the shape, voice, and personality that they were, but when they rejoin that nucleus source, they become a part of you. They reside in source energy. You have access to them on that golden thread. They are everywhere and nowhere, because when you head to the core, your identity disappears and you evaporate back into love. It's all the same. You are them, they are you. That's why I want to encourage you that since you are in the world right now, to get rid of any BS about separation. You are no different than anyone. You are no different than anything, and that's why you can attain anything you desire. It's about matching the frequency of whatever you are attempting to access in this physical realm. Abundance is about understanding that there is no difference between you and $1 million. There is no difference between you and who you want to spend the rest of your life with. There is no difference between you and anything. If you can go up that thread, tap into the source energy, and truly connect with the frequency of that which you desire, you will attract it in this third dimension with ease, grace, and flow. This is sincerely beautiful and impactful work to take on. What it requires is you healing every piece of everything that contributes to your separation from all that is. I am going to wrap up this chapter by showering you with some of my big sis love and ask you to stop believing that you are excluded from access to infinite and unconditional love. You are not that special. You are not so special that people don't get you, wouldn't understand you, or couldn't love you. Don't do that to yourself. Do not isolate yourself anymore as if you don't belong in this world or nobody wants you. You are loved. You are understood. You are provided for. Everything is available at your choice to allow yourself to be open to receiving all the blessings that these dimensions have to offer. Your duty is to get into alignment with the source of all that is and clear out any gunk blocking your flow along that golden thread. Doing so will create a flow of inspiration and abundance beyond your wildest dreams. You will be free to be, do, and have everything in alignment with your purpose and the highest good of all. I promise you, my friend, what is in alignment with the highest good of all is in your best interest as well. Just keep leaning into the guidance. I am so excited for what's in store for you. Thank you for listening to this reading of Alchemizing Judgment. If you enjoyed this reading, please like this video and comment a review below. I also invite you to subscribe to my channel, Abigail Rose Gazda. To read and listen to more of my books, visit abigailgazda.com/books. Thanks for tuning in.